Hello, welcome back. I am Lady Darcy Darkness, and this is Confessions from the Dark Side. And how are you all in this wonderful community? Today is Confessions from the Dark Side presents reviews from the Dark Side, and we are going to get the disclaimer out of the way because I can't be trusted. We are full of so much adult content that some of you think this is necessary, and some of you think this is needed. If you are one of those people, then thanks for checking us out. But I will say this only once: if you can't stand the hate, then get the fuck out of my kitchen. Now, for everyone else who likes what we have here, then regular scheduled programming will continue. Shall we get started? Now we're ready. And yes, it's reviews from the Dark Side, everyone. And we are reviewing The Exorcism with Russell Fckn Crowe. Yes, he's another Exorcism movie, but not with the Vatican this time. So, well, Russell Fckn Crowe, and you can look at this man's career and tell me you don't want to be punished by him. In confession, makes me wish I paid better attention in Catholic school. If I knew priests were like him, well, life would be much more interesting now, wouldn't it? We have seen him in not one but two religious movies in the past couple of years, both where he is a priest and both where he gets his hands dirty in the exorcism world. One being based on true line of events in the Pope's Exorcist, and now this movie titled The Exorcism, where he takes the role of the priest from the original Exorcist movie by William Friedkin, and how things aren't as they seem and what will we think here. So let's dive in. Are we ready, my wonderful audience? Because I am. Yes, I am. It looks like it's a point of view footage movie or a movie within a movie as they're remaking The Exorcist. So showing the movie being made, but as an outsider looking in, showing you things people do not see, but from a different perspective. So noises and trying to jump scare when someone is reading lines at the start. It shows the original lead actor, and then he's replaced by Tony, who is played by the legendary Russell Fckn Crowe. The creepy guy from Friends that ends up Chandler's roommate is the director, you know, the guy Eddie, and he's clearly typecasted as a cunt because he is in this movie also. Niles from Frasier is a priest, yes, Niles, you heard it. Russell Crowe is trying to play the part of a priest, Lord have mercy. Sam Worthington is also in this, and you know him from those shitty Avatar movies. Don't come for me, I fucking hate them. Sam Worthington again, and he's a bit of a drunk, it seems, in this, as is Russell Crowe's character Tony. He's actually a recovering addict in this movie. So again, we will discuss that because it is part of the story and a part of how this movie came to be. Peer pressure, joint smoking. There's a lot of parts in this movie that shouldn't be in there as they aren't needed, but they're included in it anyway. So one of the actors explains about bad luck on movie sets and horror like The Omen and Poltergeist. And again, Poltergeist was a rumor that Carol Ann didn't die. She died in the making of it. She didn't. It was around the time, but she didn't die on set because they tried to push it as Carol Ann died on set, but she didn't. That was incorrect of that stupid actress saying that and that. There's weird bumps and trying to jump scare you, but it's blatant. There's no hiding the jump scare. Russell Crowe jump scare, firstly. I'm standing there for a lifetime, nothing happening, like he was sleepwalking, and then jump scare. I was just wondering why they think this is scary to do, and why they lack a build up and suspense by doing this. It's just pure laughable. Which for some is annoying and confusing. I'm the one who gets annoyed when this happens. Does this even surprise you? The director, who's played by that cunty guy from Friends, thinks he's Kubrick and he's making everything a perfect lie, telling a story, yet shaming an addict as well is not very nice. Fantastic. He's a cunt. I did say that at the start, and he seems to be typecasted. It seems everything he's in, he is an absolute cock. Russell Crowe's character Anthony, also known as Tony, is struggling, showing that he has issues with his addiction, his responsibilities to his daughter. He's little or to no relationship with her, and she's kind of like his PA. Yet he tries and he feels like he isn't doing a good job, and yet parenting is difficult for us all, no matter if you are estranged or if you have no relationship with your child. Russell Crowe's eye area becomes very dark. You can see it the way they do the camera angles, and it's kind of like something like, you know, the way like the sun would set or the clouds going over the sun, where you'd see like a gradual darkness. This is what happens when you see a lot of darkness in the movie. It's trying to obviously focus on it's him, but he's been like taken over by an entity or a presence type of thing. You know, kind of giving you that ominous feel that it's slowly taking over, but he's not realizing it yet. It's like Russell is a pawn to dish out their own version of justice to the people that weren't who they claimed to be or have an ulterior motive. It would take control, and at this point, the darkness was a representation of how we all feel when stuff happens we have no control over, but we want people to see how we feel, or we want to present as we are angry or upset, but this darkness consumes him. And at this point, he only has control, but barely. Now he's reaching for the booze because he's in a stressful situation. It's a comfort thing. And well, this is when the entity can take him over because he can manipulate him, showing him things he thinks he's seeing, but he's not actually seeing them. Because alcohol, when you're coming off of it, or if you do have a bad relationship with any sort of substance, it can mimic things, especially thoughts and feelings, and it amplifies them to the negative. He's reading the other actors' notes, because that's when you find out at the start of the movie, you see the original actor that was playing the priest from the movie who randomly gets taken out, but he seems to go a wee bit crazy, and he's reading his notes, and you see the descending to madness in his notes, how he's just like writing notes of how the character is supposed to be, but then it starts to get quite edgy and dark. Like the guy's like using a black biro and it's like big caps locks, like he's shouting and things. Like it really is like a descendant into madness. Like the role, because some people are method actors and they become that character. A lot of people do that. Like you saw it with like Heath Ledger, Jared Leto, even Brendan Fraser. They all seem to become the characters they are. I also Colin Farrell's bad for it as well, apparently, where he is that character for the entire time he is on set, and in that frame of mind he'll stay that character. So this is how it's kind of trying to show you that the person before was trying to be, I'm not sure if he was Father Karras or he was the old priest, but from the original, obviously, horror classic that is The Exorcist. So it's kind of trying to show you the turmoil and the kind of stages of where the guy was. And he's reading this. So think of reading someone else's notes that you don't know what the fuck's happened to him, but loads of weird shit's been happening. And now you're in the role when you're reading this guy's notes, and it literally feels like the guy obviously needed help and no one was there to help him and no one gave a fuck, basically. So he's basically having something similar happen to him because he's having issues in his personal life. So therefore he's having issues with his addiction, his daughter, relationship with his daughter, outside sort of the outside influences that he has no control over. And it's easier for him to like go for the bottle or go for the addiction or whatever the addiction is, because even though it's bad for him and he knows it's bad for him, he feels safe and he feels because he knows it and things. So he's basically battling himself. There's also an entity feeding this as well. So obviously it's never a good time. He's waiting for the next step to completely take over, showing him the power, but it's actually the entity secretly taking over. And then no one can stop it because the entity has what it wants. It has Tony. So his eyes again darken the skin around him again. Kind of like I said, like the clouds going over the sun type thing. As the entity is slowly changing him. How does no one notice this when they work with someone? What it's like, no observations, know what the fuck is wrong with him. Maybe he needs assistance, maybe he needs support. Nope, we just need to get this movie done. We are behind schedule, blah blah blah. That's what that cocky, cunty director's like. He's staring and standing. I feel this is him in transition from Tony to the entity and vice versa, because at this point he's still in there, but he's still not sure of what's going on, what is happening to him, and why he's acting this way. He can't even tell you what he's doing or how he got from A to B, basically. And again, this can happen when you're coming off of substances, where you have blackouts and you don't know. It's not even just substances, it can be any sort of addiction that you have. That a lot of people are prone to taking blackouts when they actually start stopping, or they decrease their intake of these things, of their addiction. When they're stepping away, then a lot of the time people can't remember some of the things that they do, some of the things they say, or where they are. It is incredibly normal. So again, with this happening, with the entity trying to take over, people don't notice it because they know that Tony has an addiction, so they just think he's maybe struggling, but they still don't even try and help him, which is nice. Humanity, well done. High five for being dicks. Lights start flickering on and off and has caused the actress to drop what was in her hand, and she's walking down the stairs and saying Russell Crowe's name. And no one is answering, and it's gone completely quiet, and her light breathing and her voice is all you can really hear. Russell Crowe is butt naked at this point, standing and pissing. And his eyes are completely cloudy, and it's just like he's just spunked, unfortunately. It really does look like that. Not dodgy or creepy at all. How did he get up the stairs and past her so quickly, staring at the staircase? It's one of those winding staircases that, again, you can trickery of light, shadows, and noises obscures your mind of what you see at certain points. But she was at the bottom and walking up, and he's walking down, but he's managed to walk past her and get down there without her noticing him, us noticing him, and him even knowing where the fuck he is. So it's weird. It's just fucked up. It's basically supposed to feel intimidating as you see things different. Just by the way, obviously the stairs are in the light and the time of day and things like that, because it's kind of very, very dark. A lot of the scenes that are shot in this movie, and that's what they're going for. A kind of dark entity, dark place, darkness. That's the kind of feel that I got, that they were trying to really kind of reel it in as it's a dark place with secrets, lies, and God knows what brewing in this place. Russell Crowe is in a white hoodie covered in blood sitting in his daughter's room, and he swears he's not on anything again. Not dodgy. Aye, right? He's just woke up covered in blood with a white hoodie on covered in blood, and he doesn't know how he got there and what he's been doing. So again, like I said, not dodgy. Again, when you're coming off of when you're an addict and you fell off the wagon, it's not unusual for you to have blackouts. So again, the entity, a smart entity, knowing that even Tony himself might not know where he is or understand what's going on, which is perfectly normal, and he's playing on that basically. He sees everything he's done and done wrong, he sees, and he doesn't know what the actual fuck he's done or wrong with him. So, like I said, blackout's pretty common. And again, people who have went through long periods of sobriety and then fall off the wagon, this is incredibly normal. But again, no one even questions it. No one has seen him with a drink in his hand or any sort of drugs or anything like that. So again, they just assume telekinetic powers, shuts the door, then says, "Where are you gonna go?" He goads his daughter about her sexuality. Again, this shit didn't have to be in there. And her mother not loving her or wanting her as he did. Her father who hates her. He's telling her things that you don't want to hear, whether they are true or not, just to hurt you, just as an addict does, where they project the most awful things they feel on the people closest to them to push them away and hurt them. Again, it's not nice, it happens. She's recorded her father and she's let Niles, the priest, hear it. Because apparently he speaks in Latin. Of course it's Latin. What other language do they fucking speak in? Because they seem to forget that, there's other languages that technically a demon or an entity would speak doesn't necessarily mean that it's Latin. It could be another lost language again. But they always push on the Catholicism and Latin all the fucking time, and it's fucking tiresome. She says it's nothing bad that he says, but again, Niles has lied to her. He goes to an old book and he realizes that there's something more dark and sinister at play. What a fucking shocker! And he realizes, like, we're fucked. It's a demon, and then there's a metronome in the background that was completely wasn't moving, and now it's starting to move on its own out of the blue. Okay, never started again seeing flashbacks when that actually goes on. Again, a lot of people who do hypnotherapy and stuff use them. So again, focusing on that. My husband actually said that was going to go off literally basically because there was nothing else going on in that scene. Them doing that, it was just like that's going to start moving. So you see abuse from Tony's past, where he was an altar boy, and things that happen in Sanctified Ground happen, unfortunately, to altar boys. It's in canon law, so again, he's reliving things even though he's not completely himself. Each stage of the entity taking over has a black screen showing the downfall of Tony, played by the minister Russell Fckn Crowe, to make it more dramatic, like chapters in a book. And we've noticed that actually a few terrible movies have had black screens to kind of break up the movie. It gives it more of a dramatic effect. But in this case, it did. But in any other movie that we've seen recently, it does not. It's really a take on The Exorcist, but with a point of view footage type of feel of it. Like it's recording the making, but also kind of like Late Night with the Devil, where you're like, is this happening? Is it not happening? Is this all in his head? Is this like someone who's left their camera rolling type of thing? He's struggling to read scripture and the words of God while he's possessed, so I'm not surprised. Even though in other exorcism movies, including the one that Russell Crowe was in, he repeats the words backwards and also forwards in the Pope's Exorcist. Now, in the Pope's Exorcist, he laughs when he speaks them back, because why would he not be able to speak them back? That's the thing. In this movie, they make it difficult for the entity to say the words when Russell Crowe is actually, when Tony's in his own body and he's actually in control, that he can't say them. And when he touches the Bible, it goes, he can't. But again, we've seen that with the devil, not actual demons. Again, it's different. Take again. Which is it? Can they say the words or not? Why would Russell Crowe be able to speak this Latin if it was something that, again, the entity shouldn't be saying, or the entity wouldn't be able to say the way they are telling this story? But hey, it wouldn't. It's absolute bullshit. So the director has a brief cunty word with him, but as he does with a lot of people, and now he leaves him behind and goes down the stairs. Things start flickering, and then he smacks his hand off a wooden banister. He gets downstairs and then his body starts contorting and smashing around. He looks like he's really good at yoga. He's very bendy. Well, he will be now with all that stretching. The lights go on and off, ooh, spooky, in the studio, and they're back on. And he's just sitting at the table all dark, like he's like kind of, he's sitting at the head of the table, like the kind of matriarch of the family would sit. And he's doing that thing where you can see his eyes, but it's completely dark, where he's trying to be intimidating. It makes me laugh when people do that, but that's who they're trying to do. They're trying to make him intimidating. How Tony's, the lights are on and Tony's not home because the entity is there. The spotlight is on him now. If you weren't bendy before, Tony, you will be now once this entity is finished with you. If it keeps stretching him out like that, it will. Tony is not exactly. He starts. It goes to completely black and really, really dark, and then all you hear is bang, 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 and it's Russell Crowe's character Tony smacking his head off a table, a wooden table, like a dining room table, and it's a noise that you can't forget. They've done it even more, so it's more dramatic, and you would remember it for dramatic effect. Like in this movie, what things can I remember? Dark eyes and the fact that Russell Fckn Crowe bangs his head off a fucking table after he's contorted like a fucking pretzel. Do you know what I mean? So you're going to remember the visuals and the noises, especially because they've went for something dramatic and something powerful like that. And again, it stuck with me through the whole film. I couldn't unsee, unhear, or forget it, put it that way. Not that I want to, because it was highly amusing. Kind of looks like a member of the Thunderdome now. The real priest is well confused, and terrified Niles is beside himself, unknowingly realising the buck stops with him as he is an employee of the cloth. He needs to right the things that are wrong. Yet, he doesn't consult anyone, his parish is superior, which we know has to happen as it's a protocol in the Catholic Church, that if you suspect someone is possessed, you've got to speak to the right channels before you can actually do an exorcism. Yet he doesn't. Why do they make demons grunt so much? It makes them want them more. Everyone is like, how is he doing that? And the director's like, I don't fucking know. Leave me? Well, he deserves it. And he's treated everyone like shit. So again, don't dish out what you cannot handle thrown back at you, you dick. Everyone's feeling like there's something in the water here and not wanting to bring up the elephant in the room as they're in the middle of filming. The elephant being Tony and the entity. Do they need a room? I think so. But the entity loves the attention and shocking the audience is making the entity hard, like making them hard looking. In my honest opinion, pushing the boundaries of the people watching this and taking them to a place where they aren't comfortable and to shock them. You think they'd be bored of doing that if they possessed people for God knows how long, that they would want to shock people? You think they would just want to like massacre a bunch of people because you know they can, because they're in a body and now they have the power. Lights being switched on and off, spooky, not. Again, there's a lot of unnecessary stupidity in this movie of trying to make you scared when you're not. There's a great scene between Russell Crowe and Sam Worthington. He's in the mirror doing his lines, Sam, and then you hear a crash, and it's just so smart how they did it. They basically, his hand goes right through the mirror, but as his hand is going through the mirror to connect with Sam Worthington's character, there's a big shard of glass sticking out his eye, so he's already fucking dead, and most likely, if he's not dead already, he's dying because it's literally impaled right through his eyeball. And instead of, you know, him taking something and impaling him, it's already done it, but he still holds him close while he's doing it. I really, really liked that scene. I thought it was really clever and resourceful, the use of the mirror, because again, you can see things, the reflection and all that, and the grab. It's how the shock of the action and the reaction to the action and the implementation, and it was just bravo. He's dead, by the way, if that wasn't a realization, people. Russell Fckn Crowe is being weird. His daughter administers his meds, which are like antipsychotics, and he makes her put it in his mouth, and his tongue is touching her fingers. It's a bit erotic for a father and daughter, but it wasn't appealing, definitely not. It just was a creepy, weird, fucking messed up moment. There's ways of putting pills in folks' mouth where you don't need to have your dad massaging your fingers with his tongue to do it. Do you know what I mean? Oh, it's cringy as fuck. He spits out his meds and his daughter has abandoned her post, and it's like I said, it's his mood stabilizers, his antidepressants, and antipsychotics type meds. So think another control that the entity doesn't want him to be, doesn't want him strong enough so that he can actually fight him. So he wants him to give up so he can completely take over. Talks about his daughter being gay and says, "Kiss her, you fucking dyke," and he's knocking the shit out of his daughter. He bites her as well, which again is creepy as fuck. He's not being creepy to what he's just. It's the creepiest thing ever the way he speaks to her, and again he's trying to push her away and he's trying to say things to actually push her buttons. Because I'm not sure if it's Tony saying these things or he's aware that he's saying these things or the entity is saying them just to hurt her. But she's being pushed away anyway, and then the final blow is when he actually bites down and actually like he's covered in her blood basically after he bites her. So it's not just a bite, it's he gnaws at her basically. He's a complete nutter. He's fucking in a dodgy fucking tracksuit as well. So I'm just like, what the fuck? It's just in a dodgy tracksuit. He has to act like that. I just can't take him seriously. He's putting Tony's body through a bunch of trials to see if he can survive them, and he throws himself out of a fucking window. It's like the penthouse or something like that. So like I was thinking to myself, the vessel that is Tony would be fucked. So even though the entity's in him and keeping him alive, how the fuck would he manage to survive when he pushed himself out a window? You know what I mean? So again, there's a wee bit of things that don't add up, put it that way. Again, Priest Styles is trembling, saying, "Sorry, it's a bit too late for that, mate, is it not? If you suspected something was going on, you should have spoke to your superiors and let them know what the fuck's going on, rather than you go in and trying to think that you can fix it when you obviously haven't performed an exorcism, because most priests have not. It's an actual part of the Catholic Church who actually deal with it." And again, they talk about it in the Pope's Exorcist because Russell Crowe's character is actually playing the real life exorcist who actually goes and investigates things like this. But again, it's a wee bit of you can poke holes in this story constantly. Lights flash in emergency services. And again, what can they do? That's the thing. What can they do? They're looking for the next vessel, it seems, and now the real exorcism will happen. As they are experiencing this and going through these things, they're actually in a movie set, trying to film a movie. And this shit is happening right in front of them. This job at hand is not film the movie, but help Tony and deal with Tony. They've tried to build a lot on the visuals. Yes, they are filming, but yes, this is happening. It feels like in Scream, where they're making a movie of the Woodsboro Murders, which is actually based on the Gainesville Massacre that happened in Florida in the 90s. And it's a movie within a movie or reality within reality kind of thing. So it kind of like chops and changes type of thing throughout the movie. Again, the daughter ends up reading the Bible, and again, she's got no power in doing that. And the demon inhabiting her father is telling her, "You don't believe, yet you're saying these words," which means they mean nothing as any sort of questioning of faith. And her being gay as well, these words are against this faith. So they wouldn't do the same damage of a believer and a follower of the faith, including a priest. So again, anyway, plot holes. Again, can't have it two ways, people. You cannot fucking have it two ways. The demon says he needs Tony and he's been dead for years anyway due to the alcohol and drug abuse. He would be in a way lost or gone because it was easier for him to check out, so the entity is doing him a favour. But his daughter has lost her mother and she doesn't want to lose her father, even though she doesn't know him really, and she doesn't really have much of a connection to him, but she doesn't want to lose all that she has left, the power of love. Not the 80s song, even though it is good, by Frankie Goes to Hollywood, I believe, but not that. But the power of love, the power of basically connection, and a connection between a parent and child is different. Again, spitting for dramatic effect. If people know me, I fucking hate spitting. He tells her she should have been tissue as a result of an A. Again, things that an alcoholic can see coming off of drugs and alcohol. These are the things they say to hurt us because they hate themselves and they want you to also hate them and yourself. And yet having a thick skin in this is what you need to show that love will prevail. Niles gives his vestments over to the daughter. When it happens, run. because he is offering himself up to the entity as a sacrifice, the ultimate sacrifice, giving you up yourself so another can live to save them, meaning if he died in the process of the exorcism and the possession, he would go up, not down. Let him go, I will not resist you. It sounds kind of kinky. I accept the sins. Oh, the sins. Oh, the many sins, I bet. His daughter's crying for him, another Blood of Christ altar boy moment. Looks closer to child abuse, to be fair, giving you a flashback to Tony's past. Now, the actual priest is possessed now and they need to run because the shit is about to hit the fan, so fucking go. Do not look back, do not pass go, just keep fucking running. The Bible is on fire and Niles has left the building. Your God rejects you. Well, walk away then. Yet, he does not. All you're doing is tickling the demon and the entity. He loved it, and then there's tears, then they stop, then he retaliates, and then he spouts off some shit as he does, because he knows he's losing. Tony stabs him with a crucifix, as you do, again, any weapon and every inch counts, and says, "Serpent be gone," then sets him on fire, and he watches the power of Crow compels you, as the entity burns, and so does the priest. Lord have mercy. I need to know, then it goes dark. Tony speaks to his daughter. Now he's speaking in confession and reflection of his time then and accepting what he did, moving forward in his journey, but he wouldn't be alive jumping out of a window so high up. The entity cannot heal. So again, a plot hole at the end of the movie that he got to walk away, yet he jumped out of a fucking window. Not believable. But anyway, Tony and his daughter at this point, it's like where they are now and kind of just showing you the evaluation of everything that happened, and they were strong and they're back together, they're working on their relationship, blah, 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 blah. He's seeking forgiveness for his actions and moving forward, mending bridges and starting to realise that there are other things in life. And again, that does happen. People do reflect when they do realise they fucked up. Not everyone does. Some people just don't get the chance to. It's too late. The set looks like a doll's house because it kind of zooms out, kind of starts to like bring itself back. It's a bird's eye view looking down, looking in and watching, and the camera does this as it's coming to an end of the story. But is it over? Did they manage to finish the movie or not? Who knows? The Exorcism is actually an hour and 35 minutes long. It was a 15 and it was out in 2024. Yes, it was. It's a psychological horror, supernatural horror, horror and thriller. A troubled actor begins to exhibit a disruptive behaviour while shooting a horror film. His estranged daughter wonders if he's slipping back into his past addictions or if there is something more sinister at play. It's directed by someone called Joshua John Miller. The writers are Emmy Fortin and Joshua John Miller. It stars Russell Fckn, Ryan Simpkins, and Sam Worthington. Even his daughter's not even getting a fucking name in there. Neither is. There's a lot of cool stills and pictures and stuff if you want to go check it on IMDb. Russell Crowe, like I said, plays Anthony Miller. Ryan Simpkins is actually the daughter, so her name's Ryan, so sorry. They do mention the girl, Lee Miller. Sam Worthington plays someone named Joe. Doesn't even get a last name. He's Joe, no name. Chloe Bailey plays the other girl who's talking about the lies about what happened in the Poltergeist movie. Nothing happened on the Exorcist movie. That was all bullshit as well. Blake Holloway, the character, is talking shite. Adam Goldberg is the cunt from Friends, who's a cunt and everything. He's probably a good guy, and I'm just calling him a cunt. But he plays cunty characters, so I'll call him a cunt because he is on screen. Adrian Pasta is Tom. I knew I recognised that prick from somewhere. David Hyde Pierce, who is Niles, or Niles. Tracy Bonner, I said, whatever her name is, Bonner, but she's getting Tracy Bonner now. Is Regina Marcinini. Lynette is Monica, Joshua John Miller, who is the director and one of the writers who plays the SFX guy. There's Samantha Mathis. I didn't fucking see her as Jennifer Simon. What the fuck? She was in the original live action Super Mario Brothers. Don't hate me. I fucking like that film. If you don't like it, then don't come for me because I will fucking track you down and I will say things to you. Heated things. So again, there's lots of tiny little people that you don't see in the movie really at all. And again, in the movies that are like this, they have the Pope's Exorcist, the Inheritance, Salem's Lot, and Afraid. Afraid's got nothing to do with this fucking movie. Afraid's a fucking movie about technological horror and AI. It's got nothing to fucking do with fucking exorcisms. What the actual fuck are you talking about? So again, the storyline they're saying is Anthony faced Essie. He became an alcoholic and a drug addict who managed his emotional pain. His wife passed away after suffering from cancer, which they don't really go into. They just say that she had a baby that he didn't want. They have a daughter named Lee. Now in his 40s. Again, Anthony's no in his fucking 40s. There's no way. I'm in my 40s. There's no way that he was playing a 40-year-old guy. I love Russell Crowe, but what the fuck? He's not playing someone in his 40s. He's playing someone mid-50s, probably closer to his own fucking age. Has been successfully cast in a horror movie to play a priest role. He turns into a trouble actor, gets possessed, and shows disruptive behaviour while performing on set. Either childhood trauma or sinister causes, unknowing what exactly. Lee's in trouble to save her father. What exactly happened in Georgetown Project, the movie project, which is reminiscent of the movie The Exorcist, is the story behind it. Again, supernatural horror, troubled actor, body possession, estranged father-daughter relationship, film within a film, 11 more. Actor as a protagonist, no shit. Actor, doctor, strange doctor, psychological horror, child sexual abuse, childhood trauma. Film director, pass. Grindhouse film, jump scare. Now, I wouldn't say that the jump scares were particularly good in this film. You knew they were coming. Everybody knows they were coming. Every fucking movie that you see right now, you know they're coming. So let's see the parental guide. Up there is sex and nudity, moderate. It's rated R for language, some violent content, sexual references, and brief drug use even. Violence and gore, moderate. Profanity, severe. Alcohol, drugs, and smoking, moderate. And frightening, intense scenes, moderate. I wouldn't say there was any intense scenes, to be fair. If you've actually lived through someone who has an addiction, who's coming off of it, you've already lived through it. So this movie is literally like a walk in the fucking park. It is. Shut it. So Sex and the City, moderate. A couple kisses and begins to make out. Also two girls kiss. Oh, for shame. So you're shaming two lassies kissing? Okay. A sexual reference. She can't lick your pussy like I can't. Now that was hilarious. I did piss myself laughing. I didn't have that in my notes because I thought it was not going to be mentioned. But obviously it was. It's like, okay, what he's trying to say is his daughter can't do things that he can because he's a lot older and wiser, okay? That doesn't mean that you're more experienced or you're good at it, believe it or not. So a man's nude rear end is seen. I think it's Russell Crowe's ass, I think you see, because he's like completely naked. And he doesn't know how the fuck he got there. I was actually surprised he didn't do something else, but he peed instead. Violence and gore. A character gets a face full of glass shards, which is Sam Worthington, a long piece penetrating an eye, again before being choked to death. I think the penetration of the eyeball of the glass shard, because it's a massive glass shard, did the most damage than the actual strangling. Strangling was just to make sure that he was completely not there anymore and not breathing. S references and scenes of self-harm. A character seems to die from demonic strangulation. His throat bearing supernatural wounds as he is choked. Another character is tortured by prayer. Everyone is tortured by prayer because, come on, fuck, no one wants to listen to that shit, before being consumed by fire. Under the influence of a demon, a character bends unnaturally backwards. The cracking and snapping bones sound like crackling fire. He doesn't just bend unnaturally backwards, he gets bent like a fucking pretzel and then he stands up like nothing's fucking happened. It's like, hello, yoga master. Profanity. God's name is abused nearly 10 times. Holy shit, really? The Judeo-Christian God, not one of the many other gods that people have worshipped or still worship, not Krishna. 7 uses of the word shit. My goodness. 40 uses of the word fuck. Who the fuck is counting this? The film main idea is about devils and religion, so there is a lot of topics that talk about not believing in God or any other religions. Alcohol, drugs, and smoking. A character is addicted to drugs and alcohol. Marijuana is smoked. For shame. A cigar is smoked. Again, for shame. And lots of alcohol is seen. Again. Not everybody in the movie is an alcoholic, but there is other people drinking. Frightening and intense scenes, horror themes, injury detail, violence, references to child S references, and frequent coarse language. And again, it seems to be mostly a rated R movie everywhere. What does it say here? It came out on the 21st of June in the UK, but its origin was in the US. It was on Amazon apparently. Production companies are Miramax and Outer Banks Entertainment. The budget for the movie was 22 million estimated. I love how it says estimated because they don't actually talk about the actual promo of it. And again, I don't really remember seeing much promo for this movie. I don't. Opening weekend US and Canada was $2,457,041, and that was the 23rd of June this year. And the gross for Canada and America was $4,530,418, and the gross worldwide was $9,659,440. So that was $9,659,440, and that was the gross worldwide. So a movie that took $22 million to make, which literally happened in one apartment building, it seemed like. I think that's probably mostly the price for Russell Crowe, probably. And Sam Worthington, that's like the two biggest actors that are in the movie. Let's see, what did they get out of 10 with IMDb? 84.2 out of 10, and 9.7k people have reviewed it. So let's see the 1k views, shall we? Because I prefer them because they seem to be, real and not AI. So let's see. Sort by 1 star. Let's see. A complete waste of time. Okay. I will just say don't watch it. The movie starts with a good suspense, but it's just for 10 minutes. In the entire movie, there's not a single scary scene to consider this movie as a horror film. It's not. It doesn't have to be scary to be horror. Why are people thinking that horror movies need to be scary? They don't. They need to hit a few different factors of the genres and what they're actually covering, and the images and the visuals that you're actually seeing. It's not actually about scaring you. There's a lot of movies that I see are horrific that are actually in the horror category because they're terrible, because the story is shit, but they're still classed as horror. But this movie technically still comes under horror because it is a psychological thriller, horror, religious horror, and it's got possessions and stuff about religion and mental health and addiction and things that are causing inner demons to ourselves, which again is horrific to actually live through in real life, but they're doing it in film. Who I can't even pronounce that person's name because it's just random letters, so making no sense. So let's just continue his review. The entire movie is slow and felt like watching it was forcefully. Just because I have paid for tickets around an hour and a half, I felt like 3 hours. I actually didn't feel like it was on for long enough, and I felt like it focused a lot on things to do with the daughter and her issues with her knowing herself that shouldn't even be in there. Now, the strange relationship with her father, yes, but it kept like trying to give her relationship with like teen love and stuff and teen sexuality. And yes, these are important subjects, but this movie is not about that. That's why it was incredibly annoying. I hate it when they try and build up another storyline of someone who's not really, you really just want to die because they're pointless. Because they're trying to make it more about them and what they've lost rather than the things that are happening all around them, the bigger picture. They try to put some scary scenes in between the movie, but just at the moment it feels like it's getting interesting in the movie. The movie scene shifts to something else and everything just gets ruined. Even the scary scenes cannot be considered as scary, everything's predictable and the scenes are just a few minutes. The climax is super dull and doesn't satisfy at all. A massive bore. I'm a huge Russell Crowe fan, but this is beneath him. Have you seen some of the films that he's done since, he was huge? He seems to have had to revamp his career multiple times, but he doesn't give a fuck as long as he gets to work. He's one of those actors that kind of reminds me of Samuel Jackson, that it doesn't matter what he does. If he is offered money to say things, he'll do it. That's what an actor is paid to do. Basically, he's an actor on the skids playing a priest in a horror film. No, that's the plot. Wink, wink at the audience kind of thing. It takes, however, forever to get the plot moving. No, it does not. This story has been overdone in Hollywood. Hollywood is overdone, full stop. Not the one incarnation comes close to 1973 Exorcist and the 1990 Exorcist 3. Are you kidding me? The Exorcist 3 is called Heretic. It's got nothing to fucking do with the original Exorcist film. It's basically tying in a murder. For fuck's sake, the Zodiac Killer. They tried to basically, oh, fuck's sake, you idiot. God Watcher. You need to fucking be flogged. Also, I find it annoying that every film must be beholden of some Hollywood checklist. His daughter is a lesbian, and they make her love interest African American to check off some required list. I'm not prejudiced, but I feel it's so obvious that they are fulfilling some list feels forced. All movies are feeling forced like this, where they have to tick lots of boxes for people to say that everybody's included. And I'm always saying, no matter the colour of your skin, your sex, your sexual orientation, or who you choose to identify as, should be what you actually are chosen for a movie. If you're good at what you do and you can do the job, then it shouldn't matter any of these things. But Hollywood is, well, Hollywood. Anyways, a huge pass. I've seen more gore and scares on a Walking Dead episode, yeah, but Walking Dead again is shit. what a difference her later makes, because it's The Exorcist and The Exorcism. Again, The Exorcist is a 1973 movie. Again, it was 50-year old last year, not this year. Is a classic horror cinema. We know that. With standout performances, superb direction, shocking special effects sequences, and again, it was things that were pushed boundaries that they didn't think they could do in 1973, but they were successful. The Exorcism is utter garbage. Flushing his career even further round the U-bend, the once great Russell Crowe stars as a washed-up Hollywood actor Anthony Miller, a not very demanding role who's given another chance when he wins the part of a priest in a possession horror movie. The previous actor has taken his own life apparently, however the production turns out to be cursed, with those who take on the role falling under a demonic influence. Instead of dealing with an actual demon, the majority of this film sees Tony struggling with his metaphorical demons of his troubled past, which include abuse as a child, the death of his wife, the consequences of his actions due to alcohol and drugs, the strained relationship with his daughter, who fails to conceive as a teenager. Yeah, she does not look like she's about 13, 14-year-old. She literally looks about 30. Director Joshua John Miller is under the mistaken impression that he is making something profound and meaningful instead of a simple scary movie, and the result is a film that is weighed down by its all too serious approach. The final act delivers the usual possession movie tropes, and none of it makes sense in the scheme of things, and the extremely tedious build-up simply isn't worth the effort. 2024 has been a really strange year for horror as far as I'm concerned. Every time I think I've seen the worst that the year has got going to throw at me, along comes another even more diabolical piece of trash. There's been much worse films this year. I don't think The Exorcism is that bad. I've seen a lot worse. Let's see the 10 stars that are obviously written by AI. I mean comment. There's only one. Ha! There's only one 10 out of 10. That's hilarious. I mean comment. I'll give it 10 stars because people reviewing are just mean. Lol, I just finished it. Not as bad as what people are saying, of course. The acting of Russell Crowe makes it worth a watch. It's one of those movies you watch on TV after midnight and don't know what to expect. It's a fucking exorcism movie. If you don't know what to expect, why the fuck are you watch it in the first place? I give it a 7.5. What the fuck? It's more of a horror drama. No, it's more of really again. The ending scene was kind of ridiculous, as most new horror films are. All horror films for the past 20 years have been terrible. Even 30 years, sorry, have been terrible. Now, I compare it to other scary movies of the year. The last ones were not my taste. I prefer to watch this than the god horrible Hereditary or the too many sequels of The Conjuring, which I agree. The fact that this movie was shot, before the Pope's Exorcist is actually good if this came before, because people wouldn't roast him as much. Again, I can't really read that person. Jim movie reviews is all over the fucking place. Maybe you need to like cut back on the whatever the fuck you're taking. What did I think of this? I felt like it did start off a wee tiny bit slow. I feel like the original actor playing the priest, we didn't really see much of how he got to where he was, and it didn't show any flashes either. It was just like in this they're saying that, oh, is it his internal demons and he's not possessed? Well, why would it affect the other actor if it was Tony's internal demons that caused the possession? Because it wasn't a possession, what the fuck caused it with the other guy? Take his own life and to go insane? Again, makes no sense. Whatever. I felt like they should have just stopped the jump scares, to be fair. I do feel that Hollywood overuses them and they don't even give you a good jump scare these days. If they're not using the sound, they just use a bang. Or they show you a scene that's far too long with nothing and then something happens. The focus of what was happening, but it was bad. It wasn't great, but it did have some clever outside the box violence, which is nice to see. And there were some brutal noises as they were happening for drastic effect and dramatic effect, which I really liked. What do I give this? Out of 5? Well, I give it 2 out of 5, and the 2 is literally for Russell. Sorry, I'd say the 2 is for Russell Crowe, and especially for his banging his head off the table and making that really horrible noise that literally is still sticking with me. But I didn't think the movie was terrible. There's worse movies this year. I think The Pope's Exorcist was better, but it's a different fucking story. This is basically a movie within a movie and a point of view, with a lot of things that you kind of reflecting on as a person, that even though you've done bad things, you can make things better. I felt like it was kind of pushing that. I felt there was a few things in the movie that didn't make any sense. Like the kind of review said that that Hollywood is trying to tick boxes that didn't need to be ticked in this movie. It had nothing to do with her sexual orientation, or things that had happened to her. It was all about the relationship now, and how he was trying to mend bridges, but he was also struggling internally. And because he's a parent, he doesn't want to be like, seeking support, it felt like. Which is a horrible thing to feel, that you don't have anyone at your turn and you don't have anyone to talk to. And I think everybody who, again, all humans have felt like that at one point, that it's a struggle to even assess and ask for help. So, like I said, 2 out of 5 for me, and that is all for Mr. Russell Fckn Crowe. It makes you want to get possessed and exorcised by Roy Russell Fckn Crowe, doesn't it? That was Confessions from the Darkside presents review from the Darkside, The Exorcism. Let me know in the comments below, have you seen this movie? Did you enjoy it? What would you give it out of 5? And do you love Russell Fckn Crowe? Do you want to see him in more stuff? Do you think that the people should stop typecasting him and just let him fucking be Russell Fckn Crowe and demolish things? It's great. What is your favourite Russell Fckn Crowe movie? Let me know in the comments below. If you like content like this, remember to go check out Confessions from the Darkside social media platforms that are Twitter, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, Amazon Music, Spotify, and Buzzsprout. Let us know what you think over our social media platforms, and let's get chatting about this topic, all the topics. Let's grow our community and spread how awesome the horror community actually is. If you need to reach out to us at any point, then you can contact us from confessionsfromthedarkside@gmail.com, all lowercase, all one word, @gmail.com. And if you have anything that you want to discuss, speak to us. If you think there's something that I would like, or we would like to hear about, or maybe you've heard something that we don't, or if there's an article that you want me to break down and react to, then please send it to confessionsfromthedarkside@gmail.com. I'm Lady Darcy Darkness, and as I said, that was Confessions from the Darkside presents reviews from the Darkside, The Exorcism 2024. And I'll see you in the next one. Later.